Welcome back to Al Central Games, everybody. Ready for second round of top 8? We have Mono White against our Elves player from last round.
Yeah, so we had a concession on the other side of the brackets. John Goss conceded to Adam, so the red-black player will get to go to San Diego if he so chooses. And we got...
It'll be legal for him to do.
Yeah, it'll be legal for him to do so.
They actually ban people from
Yeah.
entering the city who haven't won RC.
Yeah.
I guess I'm allowed to go to San
Get your
Diego.
formal invitation letter to
Yeah.
San Diego, California.
Yeah,
Nice.
the entire city.
Yes.
We should make a city like that. You know,
I don't think that's legal.
you don't think that's legal?
So first we have to make a country.
Yeah.
If that's legal, I'm kidding. All right. There's Magic being played.
Yeah, it looks like Howard on the play here, starting with a Plains into Hopeful Initiate, and Jacob with the patented Forest into Elvish Mystic. Got it. Nailed it in one. We have a Dauntless Bodyguard from Howard into an Attack for 1 because Hopeful Initiate is a 1/2. Oh, and my bad. It looks like Jacob played a Beseju instead of the stuff.
So we saw this matchup before, and we saw Jacob take it down.
Oh no, that's a Castle Garenbrig coming in tapped, and a 1/1 entering the battlefield. That is not a good sign. We do have a reader though.
Yeah.
Now, if Howard has something like Plains or Mutavault into Adeline here, it's going to be real tough for Jacob to come back from this.
Yes.
And it looks like what's going on here. Oh, we have a Brutal Cathar. Also pretty brutal.
Yes.
Literally in the name.
Yes.
Mm.
Right. It looks like Dauntless Bodyguard going to be learning. Is that what the effect is on Hopeful Initiate?
No, it is you know this. What's
What?
the
Oh,
Initiate?
training.
Training.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
Something-ing.
That's
Yes.
basically the same word.
Training.
Yeah,
You learn, you train, you...
It's just a more specific type of learning.
sure. Hitting Jacob to 4 down to 15. And again, this is going to be tough for Jacob to peel out of.
And I'm pretty sure we saw it in the Swiss. The player who won the die roll won the match.
Yep.
And also the player who was on the play in each game
Won the game.
won the games.
That
Yep.
makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jacob being number 8 coming into the top 8, unfortunately will be on the draw every round.
Mm-hmm.
We have a Realm Walker. Notably a 2/3. Does have good blocks
Yeah.
for everything so far.
Yeah, I like this play from Jacob. I think he's going to miss his land drop here. Really, all of his 2 mana plays are not as impactful, and
Yeah, if it were me, I wouldn't miss my 3rd land drop.
that's fair as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm just built different though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Would you also have played a forest instead of a Beseju on turn?
Oh yes, 100%.
Nice.
So I could play my Realm Walker on turn 2.
Yeah.
Yes.
This attack is interesting.
Yes, this is very interesting.
I mean, we got a free attack or free block on the Brutal Cathar, right? Just get our guy back.
Yeah.
So we definitely have a Brave the Elements?
I guess. And we just want to get damage through? I guess that's what's going on.
I would assume this means that Howard has multiple Brave the Elements in hand.
Yes.
This attack makes very little sense otherwise.
So if we're doing that, why wouldn't we just brave main phase, get 2 extra points? We know this block is so free for Jacob.
Yeah.
Right?
And it doesn't, and it's not like you're trading.
We've
Yes.
got a
Beautiful.
channeled Igonjo.
And it all made sense.
Yep.
Well, kind of.
I think it did, yeah. Probably.
But
I mean, if I was sitting in Howie's chair, that's the play I would have made.
Sure.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I can't see Howie's hand, but oh, and he didn't cast a spell, so his Brutal Cathar flips.
So beautiful.
That's actually pretty sweet. Now, what's the backside of Brutal Cathar?
Moonrage Brute.
You're on it.
That's why they pay you the big bucks.
That's it.
I could tell you it's a 3/3 first strike with Ward pay 3 life.
That's what I could tell you too.
Yeah. And that card's not fair.
Not at all.
Nah.
Nope. That's why it's on the back.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so it looks like Jacob missing land again, and a Elvish Clan Caller has hit the battlefield.
Yeah, he's got a lot of clunk in hand. Doesn't even have a 1 mana play to go up with that.
Yeah,
so.
I think there's a Court of Calling, a Shaman of the Pack that we can't cast, and a Collected Company potentially. I think there's another Claim Caller as well.
Yeah.
And
So
Moonrage Brute is bigger than Brutal Cathar, so Hopeful Initiate will be able to train again.
Yes. Sure. It looks like Jacob's just taking this hit.
yeah, I think
Which is
Jacob's
for
just gotta concede to a Brave the Elements at any point at this point. Just way too far behind.
I don't even know if Howard needs the Brave the Element.
Yes.
I think with 2 creatures, one of which is Thalia, and
triggering the Brutal
yeah.
Cathar
Yeah, this is bad. This is real bad.
Might have actually gone for the Llanowar or the Elvish Mystic there. Exile.
Ooh,
Oh, doesn't matter.
And yeah. Well, so far, if you're on the play, you win the match. So
Yep.
Yeah. I know when the mono white deck was being iterated on, there were some people who preferred Skyclave Apparition because it permanently removed whatever you were trying to remove, as opposed to Brutal Cathar. But what we just saw there is one of the big upsides to putting Brutal Cathar in your deck. And
for sure.
Yep.
It was also more important when people were super high on the mono green list. Sometimes you just needed to exile a Karn,
Yes.
and Brutal Cathar notably cannot do that.
Yep.
So
It's very close between the two.
Mhm.
But Brutal Cathar looking better in the creature matchups for sure.
do we know, this is important, do we know which of our competitors is more excited to go to San Diego?
No idea.
Yeah, I think so. I've known Howie since Howie was like 14 years old,
Yeah.
and his parents were taking him to GP Pittsburgh,
Okay.
my first GP ever.
Cool parents.
Yeah, right.
Sweet,
Right.
yeah.
And he day two'd that GP.
Awesome.
And every time I see Howie, he might be this like curmudgeon, young yet extremely old man, but there's still a very excited child in there who just wants to game.
Okay.
So
Okay.
my vote would be Howard Brosnan is more excited for San Diego.
All right. Well, he is up a game.
Yeah.
So
And going to the sideboards here, I want to talk about a card from Jacob's side. Well, we'll go over the sideboard first. 2 Terrace Thunder, 2 Golgari Charm, 2 Assassin's Trophy, 2 Back to Nature, 2 Pause for Reflection, 1 Weathered Runestone, 1 Phyrexian Revoker, 1 Reclamation Sage, 1 Scavenging Ooze, 1 Fatal Push, and luckily we already have Pause for Reflection already on the screen.
Yep.
2 and a green, Convoke. Prevents all combat damage that will be dealt this turn. This is all I want to happen in this match. This is all I want to happen in this top 8. This is everything to me.
yeah, it's free information. Next time you play against Brian Potter in a tournament,
Yeah.
he will be packing for Reflection.
Yeah.
No green sources.
Yeah,
just some white creatures that also tap that are hybrid green to cast this card.
Yeah, like
Is his
Kahira is his companion, some Dryad Militants.
yes.
Yeah.
That's what I want. Burning
Yeah.
Tree Emissary is probably more my speed.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
So these are coming in for sure.
Yep.
100%.
Yep.
Other cards that are going to come in, the push, very likely. Golgari Charm, we did see Jacob bring this in but previously versus Mono Whites.
I think Golgari Charm's a good way to shift a combat that looks bad for you.
Yeah, and even think
It
about
also
it from
gets
that perspective.
around. It gets around Brave the Elements, which is
Yes.
huge.
And then just has the high roll of my opponent has 3 creatures in play and they're all X.
I was just thinking from the X1 perspective beforehand, but you're completely right. It could actually shift combat a lot in certain spots.
Plus, I'm sure that Howie has some portable holes that'll be coming in, and it's like sneaking a portable hole target back into play can change the tide of combat as well.
For sure. And we have 2 trophies, maybe not, depending on how Jacob feels about Adeline, but I think Jacob has a lot of cards that he wants to bring in anyways, and he's a high-density deck, so I would say I'd be a bit surprised by them, but not shocked.
Yeah. The other thing is that Thalia is pretty tough for Jacob's deck to deal with. Surprisingly, even though it's a mostly creature deck,
Yes.
it does really want to be casting its Collected Companies and Court of Callings for the cheap, and obviously it's sideboard cards as well.
So from Howie's side, it's pretty straightforward here. We're just going to bring in some removal spells. We're going to bring in 3 portable holes, maybe some amount of Deccan Stones, maybe this Fateful Absence. I think that's really all that comes in here.
Any Redain?
I do not believe so.
No, I don't think so. I'm really excited for Howie though. He's got portable holes. Our last mono white player did not have portable holes. I think that's a big get in the matchup, especially when you're already up a game.
For sure.
So
Probably won't see anything like Wedding Announcement. It's not going to be that sort of grindy matchup.
Mm-hmm.
I just really want pause for reflection to be on the staff.
I'm not gonna lie, that I'd also be very entertained by that.
Yes.
I think the moment that I would really enjoy from that is as we're kind of like wrapping up tonight, the conversation that I would get to have with Howie about his thought processes when he saw pause for reflection.
Yes.
So we saw earlier that a mono white player against Jacob played a Brave the Elements. So like this is like like you put it on the table like this is lethal, you're dead. If Jacob had pause for reflection in that spot, Jacob would have won that game,
Yup.
but he didn't. So he should have it this game.
Yeah, I was out on the floor watching that match, and Jacob, being the judge that he was, just counted out everything to make sure he was lethal, let his opponent go to attacks, and I really thought I was going to see it in that moment. And I was going to hear a scream from back here.
Yes.
Yeah. It looks like Jacob potentially taking a mulligan.
I believe he is on 6.
Howard keeping 7.
That it? Is that at the front card? Come on.
Everyone, Ryan's face is 6 inches away from
Yeah.
the computer screen.
I think it's a Paseju.
Yeah.
Dang it.
The other problem is it's not the type of card that you want in your opening hand, especially if you're on the play.
Right.
You want to be pushing your advantage.
Yep.
All right, so we've got a Overgrown Tomb into Llanowar Elf. Howard's going to start on a Shephet Dunes into a hopeful, not a hopeful initiate, maybe a hopeful initiate.
Tells me that Howie doesn't got a lot of lands in his hand, or there are a lot of colorless lands in it.
Into the new card from the Brothers War, Recruitment Officer. Probably not going to see its effect matter in this game, but it is a huge get for these type of decks.
Yep.
Yeah, I would be surprised if Howard's hand doesn't contain at least one copy of Mutavault.
Yeah. You never know. Maybe Howie has a bunch of portable holes or something in hand. Could have been swayed to keep a one-lander that looked like that, maybe. But I'd be surprised if we don't see a second.
Yeah. It looks like Jacob swinging in. Hitting
Sup.
for 1.
Mm-hmm.
Don't miss your points, Jacob.
Look, Howard took 1 point of damage off of this Shephet Tunes.
1-1, 1-2.
Yep.
Yeah, Howie.
Gang's all here.
That's 3 points of power and toughness for 1 mana. You better read that again.
And we see the aforementioned Mutavault and a Thalia's Lieutenant, allowing this Recruitment Officer. It's a 3/2, isn't it? After this.
Yep.
So
pretty clean attack.
Yeah, it's a pretty clean attack. Jacob can double block if he wants.
And I think Howie's just fine with that.
Yeah.
Trading 1 card for 2. Jacob gave. Oh my gosh. Our person on the floor asked our players who would be more excited. Jacob did decline to answer, and Howard shared that he hated California but wanted to go. As I shared, the oldest young man you've ever met.
Yeah.
It's really the answers I expected from both players.
Okay. And Jacob with the Leaf Crown Visionary into Shaman of the Pack play. That's pretty bad for Howard.
Yes.
That's going to be a hit for 5, plus presumably... No, I guess there was no free mana after that. Just a hit for 5 down to 12. And
I think Howie's very far behind here.
yeah. Howie clearly with no other white source.
Ooh, we're getting in.
Getting in.
We're blocking. Okay.
We have a block of the... Okay, so Dauntless Bodyguard came down naming Thalia's Lieutenant. It was blocked by a 4/3, which Howard did not realize was a 4/3, and then led to an immediate concession.
I respect Howie a lot more after that. You got get out of there, man.
I know that you really wanted to see the card pause for reflection, but do you think maybe the real thing that should have happened is that Howie should have paused to reflect on the power and toughness of Shaman of the Pack?
Yes, that you know, Howie should have maybe taken a little pause there, but at the same time, when you make a mistake like that, and especially it's on camera, get out of there.
Yeah, yeah.
Get right out of there. I respect that a lot, and everyone else should respect him too.
It is a high equity play to just leave the feature match area as fast as possible.
I'm sure Jacob said very politely, "Is like, all right, we're in damage." And Howie just goes like, "All right, why is your shaman out on the graveyard?" And Jacob was like, "My creature's a 4/3."
Yep. Mhm.
That was Jacob with the game on the play
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
winning ball to 6.
Yep.
Which
Now that
card
we've
doesn't matter.
seen a little bit of how this matchup plays out, I actually think the Elves list could be favored.
I think
Outside of the
yes.
card Brave the Elements, the mono white deck does have a problem with the swarming of the elves. So and no real good way to deal with elf into large plays outside of portable hole, but that means they're obviously not pressure.
Yeah.
So
I think mono white's strong hands, the 1-drop, strong 2-drop Adeline, are gonna be really hard for elves to beat.
yes,
And then but elves has a better average draw.
sure.
Yeah.
That is a defensible position.
If I had to pick one, I think I'd still take Howie on the play here. I think his deck does get a lot more better than Jacob's does post sideboard.
Looks like both players have kept, and Howie on planes into Kithian Acroan Hero.
No.
No.
Hero of Akros.
Whatever. It's
Yeah,
close
I know
enough.
that one. I've cast that one
Alright.
before.
And, Jacob on Basic Forest this time, not lying. Basic Forest into Elvish Mystic. Let's see if Howard has a way to interact with this elf, or if we're just gonna try to beat down. See at least Athalia's lieutenant in Howie's hand.
We talked about nice basics earlier, and these basics are really making me feel like I'm back in 2016.
Yeah.
It's 2016, these basics are being printed, and everybody's got a full art in their deck.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
boring nowadays.
Yeah, Battle for
Right.
Zendikar came out, and everyone went, okay, these are the full arts that I'm going to play because they're cheap.
Mm-hmm.
And that was before every set had full art basics, which, in my opinion, are all better than these. All right, we've got Elvish Warmeister coming in for the last
Me. Now you pronounce it correctly?
for the last time this round, and no follow up from Jacob. Let's see.
See a lot of clan callers in Jacob's hand.
Yeah, I think Jacob's going to be double clan calling next turn. Okay, so Howie is going to Brutal Cathar and attack for 5 here. Presumably, Jacob's going to take it down to 12.
And it's daytime.
It is
It is
daytime.
daytime.
It is important. Not where we are. It's definitely not daytime here.
It is dark outside.
In the plane where these planeswalkers are having their
Okay,
battle.
all right.
Yeah, that was important for Jacob to have the third land here to play 2 things
Yep.
to catch back up here.
Oh, okay. So it is Leaf Crowned Visionary.
Yep.
Almost messed it up. Into another Leaf Crowned Visionary.
Okay.
Taking a damage.
Taking a damage down to 11.
Do you think we will see Jacob attempt to trade with any of these creatures?
I think if you have the opportunity to block the Kithian, I would probably make that trade. I assume Howie's not going to let this Thalia's Lieutenant be tradable.
Yes.
It would be my guess.
I think if we send just now, it would be only Brutal Cathar I would think about. But Luminarch Aspirant. Gonna muck up combat here. And ooh.
Luminarch Aspirant into a Thalia's Lieutenant.
This is another very, very Howie. Just
Yep.
lots of creatures and multiple Thalias.
Okay, so if you're Howie right now, are you putting the Luminarch Aspirant counter on the Brutal Cathar?
I think so, because if you trade and attack and a trade with both the what you call it, the Land of War guys, I think that's fine. I think you take that.
So this allows Jacob to double block the Brutal Cathar, and then both of his creatures will die,
Yes.
and he will get the Warmeister back, which I think Howie is fine with.
Yeah.
Howie is
Pushing through this much damage and just,
Exactly.
you know.
Yep. Plus, this will mean that Kithian will flip, assuming Howie remembers the trigger.
Yep.
It's possible not attacking with Brutal Cathar was actually the right play here.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe it depends on Howie's hand. If Howie has a Brave the Elements, I think it's a you attack actually, because then you can get through all these 1/1s that Jacob might make next turn through the Warmeister.
I think if Howie had Brave the Elements, Thalia's Lieutenant plus Brave the Elements was lethal.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure this means that Howie does not have Brave the
Correct.
Elements.
So maybe it was right to hold back there, because this Warmeister is going to make a lot of meisters.
Well, it has. What is the text on the backside of Gideon?
So it can make something, it gives something a keyword for its plus ability, and one of them is indestructible. Nope. Okay, I'm just wrong.
I don't believe so. I believe I think that's the Word of Spark one. It's prevents damage that would be dealt to and by a permanent until end of turn.
Yes,
tick up.
you're right.
And then it becomes a 4/4.
So it is up to one target creature an opponent controls attacks it next turn if able.
Cool.
And then its +1 is target creature gains indestructible, untap it, and then it can become a 4/4.
How'd
So-
that one roll?
I wonder if the plus ability was used on Warmeister to make it chump attack.
Well, we will not have to jump attack
That's
any
true.
longer, so we have a trophy that did come in for Jacob.
And all of a sudden, it's not 100% Howie here, right? Because every time Jacob plays an elf, he does get a chump blocker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on the face of it, looked like that attack was good by Howie from the Cathar, but I'm also starting to second guess myself if that was correct.
Mm-hmm.
2 Deckenstones, it looks. No, Adeline Deckenstone is Howie's hand here.
Okay.
Which means lethal, right? Because
Yes.
we're gonna have 4 attackers.
Yep.
Yes. All right.
There we go. So
Okay.
Howie's punched his ticket to San Diego.
As much as he loves California.
Yeah.